So, how do Indians really feel about black people? I think it's a very interesting question. Usually we talk about racism when it comes to white people. There are a level of racism that we don't pay attention to. I think it goes under the radar. Let's watch a couple of videos here. We're gonna make your comments together. Let's go.
Most of the racism that I've actually experienced since coming to Canada has been from Indians.
Actually,
unfortunately, that's the reality. I'm so sorry. I know that they are one of the people that the general public, most of the general public in Canada are on right now. But to be very real and unfiltered, Indians and racism towards black people is insane. There was a day that I had ordered for food, and then the name on the order was an English name, and then the DoorDash got here, met me, and they said, "Oh, is your name this name?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Oh, you don't look like it." And then I swear to God, he called head office to confirm that if there's,
What did you do? Tell me.
I reported.
Of course.
I called and reported.
What do you mean?
They refunded my money.
What do you mean you don't?
And they were like, they are going to deal with it.
Okay, so the brother said that you all heard, okay? The name was the English name, and the Indian couldn't believe it was him, and he had to call to double check. Now my question is, does it sound racist? Well, at first hand, when you look at it, you think it's racist. Is it a possibility? It is a possibility. But on the other hand, you as an Uber driver or Uber Eats driver, you go deliver something to a person named Ting Ching, okay? Ting Ching, it's a Chinese name, right? And you find a black person, named Ting Ching. Would you not be asking the same question, like, am I delivering to the right person? Or maybe let's say it's white, but the name is Ting Ching. Would you ask the question or not? Would that make you racist? You see, it's a 50-50 situation, I think as much as we may be criticizing the situation, we got to keep a very cool mind. Let's continue on the next one. You must remember here we're about to be fair. We like being fair. We don't just jump into vibes saying, oh, they hate us, and no, we don't do that. Children do that, okay? And those content creators that create things for you to love so they can get views and money. We're not about that. That's not the reason why we're here. We're here so we can reflect and think together. So we have to be critical and analytical. Let's go.
Okay, so before I started my series, I wanted to tackle this question right here. A lot of Indians don't like black people because if you have a baby with a black guy, they think how dark it will come out. And in my case, this is true. So my family always called me dark growing up. Mind you, I'm not that dark, but my mother is darker than me and my father is lighter than me. So of course, then you get me. But apparently I'm still dark. So when I was pregnant with my son, all my mom would say is how dark my child was going to be. Now, when he was born, when you look at the top of a newborn's earlobe, you'll see what color they're going to be, basically. Their pigmented earlobe basically tells you how dark or how light the child is. So what she said was, he's going to be so dark, look at his ear. I was like, huh? I didn't get it until later that she thought that because of his ear, he's going to be dark. And well, anyway, colorism is a big issue in India. And that could be why they don't really like the intermingling with black people.
Well, I mean, in India, colorism is a reality, okay? It's a society where people function with classes. Okay? The superior classes, the middle class, the low class and stuff. And that depends on your color, your skin color. The lighter you are, the higher you rank. The darker you are, the lower you rank. That's India for you. Matter of fact, I don't know if you watch Indian movies. Have you seen black Indians in Indian video as the main character, like a black Indian? You'll never see that. Don't look. You won't see it because that's what it is. So the lighter you are, the more they like you. Let's go to the next one.
Through a phase where I never dated anyone because I had that in me that I'm black, I'm not beautiful, no one will date me. So the first time I even dated someone, I was at the age of 28. So you can imagine. My mom is Indian. My dad was a Nigerian. And growing up, I always had very low self-esteem, especially because of my skin color. Sometimes I tell them, like, no, I'm born and brought up here. Like, I'm from Mumbai. And they're like, no, your hair, no, it's not possible. Most men would not want to be seen with me. The guy I was dating, his mother actually told him, you can't marry this girl because you'll have black babies. That's the extent of colorism. up, I went through a phase where
She's suffering. That's not good. Why do you make people pregnant disappear? You know, when the father is present, doesn't matter whether he's Chinese or Zulu or whatever, it's going to insert a level of confidence to the child. Fathers are very necessary in life. Fathers are way beyond financial necessity. Trust me. You don't need a father for your child just because of money. No, not at all. A father is beyond a financial provider. He's also the security. He's the pastor, the professor, the mentor. He's the wise. He's everything. Your children need their fathers. You know, daughters need their fathers so they can know how to be loved because of how they were loved by their fathers. You know, you can clearly see this girl is very lost because the mom cannot give her the blackness, you know, the self-esteem with the blackness that she needs, unfortunately. Okay, so manager people, that's your sister right there. Let's go to the next one.
Like to date a black guy since you've seen what he's equipped with, like a black guy.
Equipped with what?
Seen what he's equipped with, like a black guy.
Look how she's opening her mouth because it's bigger.
Why? Because
What's
it's big.
that?
Yeah, it's fun.
In the porn films, okay, the black guys are so well equipped is a small word, if you know what I mean. It's like he'll pretty much tear me apart, and I don't think I want that. Okay.
I date a black guy because they have nice personalities. Never. I want to get that soul, to be honest now. I want to survive. I want to live my life. That's it. Yeah, actually, yes. Yeah, he loses a lot of things to me.
Well, black guy have big personality. Is that a reality? Is that truth? I mean, I think there's a lot of stereotypes. Lots of stereotypes on many things. Thinking that black guys have big, whatever, you know, well endowed and stuff. Like, is this true? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. You know, and I think it's not something you should be very happy about because a lot of people are happy about that when they hear people say, "Oh, I like black guys," because that is so reducing to one very basic thing. Like, not because they're smart, not because they're extraordinary, not because they think outside the box, but just because they got a big, like, I mean, you know, back in time they took slaves, okay, that they thought were masculine enough and good looking and strong enough to go and impregnate other slaves and make babies. Yes, they did that. In America, it was done. They took slave that looked big and strong. In Brazil, there's a slave that's fathered like 100 of children. Is that a pride? I don't know if that's a pride. And a matter of fact, it didn't only happen in America. It happened in Ghana too. Yeah, you need to find out about these stories. In West Africa, there were slaves. Sometimes they were good looking and strong. That were taken to other tribes, other kingdoms to go and pregnant women. The difference is they were not mistreated. Okay, they saw them as strong, good looking, you know, efficient figure that would bring prosperity, and you know, they were treated nicely as opposed to America and elsewhere. So I don't know if saying that black guys have big whatever, it's number one truth. I don't know if every matter of fact, one of my friends was really in very difficult situations like that. He had one of those, and the reason why I know is because we grew up together. Like, okay, anyway, let me not talk about this. Yeah, he's no more. But yeah, peace be with him. Let's go to the next one. So this one is a young South African man explaining the situation about Indians in South Africa. So the Indian issue with black people is not necessarily in America only. Not in India only, it looks like it's a problem across the world. So this is in South Africa. Let's listen to what they have to say. Just remember, South Africa is a very multicultural country. You get people from different backgrounds. So let's go.
One day when the country is no longer facing an economic crisis, or one day when the country is free of corruption, when we are ready to talk, when you are ready to sit down and talk about real-time issues that we are facing, we'll be able to sit down and talk about the amount of racism that most Indian people have towards black people. This might not be a popular opinion, but I know whoever's watching this video knows what I'm talking about. This thing has been going on for the longest time and people are not addressing it. Instead, we sweep it under the carpet. But it's been going on for the longest time. It's been happening for the longest time. How many times have you met one of your brother or sister or auntie or even your neighbor who works for Indians or who works in Makishini or my Indians? How many times have you heard them talk about how evil they are, how badly they treat black people, how much they see us as slaves or animals instead of human beings? This thing hasn't been addressed in South Africa for the longest time. People don't want to talk about it. I don't know, maybe it's because of the affiliation that the government has, or the former government, as they say, has with certain Indian businessmen and business people. But we need to start addressing the situation. I'm talking about a lot of things. Even in religion, ask our fellow black brothers who decided to take Islam as their religion. Ask them how the treatment is from their fellow brothers in Islam who are Indians. Ask them about the treatment. Ask them about how much most Indian people would rather pay you through food, last week's food, instead of giving you like money, like
What?
as in real money. Ask anybody who works for Indian people how much racist they are. One day we'll be able to sit down and discuss that issue, that dilemma. We'll be able to talk about the disease, the hatred that most Indian brothers and sisters have for fellow black people.
Well, this is very interesting because an Indian lady replied to the video and she did not disagree with him.
I wasn't going to stitch this video because I've made many videos talking about racism in our community. But I've seen a lot of stitches on this video and Indian people saying, well, it's not all Indian people. Yeah, we know that, black people know that, but it's a lot of us. So they are valid to say Indian people are racist. And can you honestly tell me, how would your family react if they know you're dating a black person? I also saw someone say, well, black people are racist to us too. Two wrongs don't make a right, but I'm also having a hard time believing that you know that many black people. And you're probably just making this assumption from like two black people that were nice to you. So like, well, they're racist to us too. We as Indian people need to acknowledge how we are wrong and apologize and change. We literally have come through apartheid together and somehow we're still divided. It doesn't make sense.
I think it's very interesting to hear the lady speak like that. The gentleman spoke about black people being mistreated and ill-treated by Indian, business owners and stuff like that. But my question is, why can't black people open their own businesses? Why do you have to be subjected to that? It's beginning to feel to me like cry babies. Love me, choose me, treat me nice because I want to be just like you, because I'm a human being like you. Why can't you do the same? Like, not treat them bad, but why can't you look after yourself? Create your own businesses. I mean, create your own kitchens. How about that? Because black people in majority, in some areas, especially in South Africa, don't necessarily have the let me hustle mentality. It's more let me find a boss and let me find a job. And we can understand this is because apartheid created a system where black people were completely dependent on white people. Unlike many African countries where black people actually are mostly hustlers. They go in the street, they will sell potatoes, bananas, carrots, whatever, chicken, and just find ways to survive. Everybody has a business in Uganda. Every household has a small business that generates money. They don't necessarily wait for government. But South Africa has a beautiful system that works for those it works for. You can go to school, get a degree, and get a job, and get paid appropriately. You find in South Africa young women at 25, 26-year-old that's a homeowner already. You don't find that in the rest of Africa. Obviously, it's not paid for. In South Africa, you can get a home loan for 20 years or 30 years and a car as well. In the most African nations, you can't do that. You have to pay cash. So the question remains, are the Indians maybe racist? Yes, it's a possibility. Are they not nice? Well, yes. Is the solution to say, well, why are you treating us bad? I don't know why people treat us bad. You treat us bad too. I don't know if that works. I think people respect only power. People don't respect begging because it sounds like begging to me. I'm just saying, let's go to the next one. Look at this man between two Indian ladies. They're caressing his hair. This woman is happy. Look how she's happy. She's touching it. Maybe she's a single. Okay, anyway, let me just not get into that. People, I think people like you because they've sexualized black people in the same way black people, in most cases, have sexualized, or maybe let me say Hollywood has sexualized black women. Most of the communities see black people as just a well-endowed something, not a brain at all. Let's go to the next one. This looks like an interview happening in Kenya between an Indian lady and a Kenyan woman. So Indians are very present in Kenya. They've been there for many, many years. Many of them were brought in many years ago when they needed them to build the railroad to Kampala, Uganda. Okay, so let's watch what she has to say.
Now, we see a lot of backlash when Indian girls marry Kenyans.
Yes.
As you saw earlier, Ukule Bukusu land. There's a Luya man and an Indian, and it went viral. Why do you think there's that backlash?
That's what I was saying. Vashita was a very fundamental program in that one. When the Indians came here in the 18th, 19th century for the railways, they came in a small group to work and to teach people agriculture and railways. So that was our forefathers. So when they came, when you come to a new country, there are so many barriers: language, religion, food, everything. So that was all there. It's like me taking you to the UK and you've never been, or you've never been around Muzungus. You can imagine how you feel. So it started as a protective thing, you know?
Yeah.
So you can see this Indian lady already have a Kenyan accent. She probably is born in Kenya and stuff. She's within the Indian community, but she's also Kenyan. Let's listen.
And then it became like, okay, let's just preserve our culture because, you know, we are just a small group. Then they became bigger and they settled and all that. So as we started settling, then it became that one of, you know, and I keep telling people, it happens in every culture. So let's say I'm a Muindi, right? I employ you. You're a railway track
Muindi is Indian.
Yeah.
Now I have a daughter. You fall in love with the daughter. But I know you're a railway track worker. Would you really let me marry your daughter? Marry my daughter to you? It's like me asking you, your daughter falls in love with the soldier.
Like, no.
From a different culture completely. Or even from the same culture these days. Let's just take it as a basic
you
thing.
just think about a security
mom.
guard. Most likely now.
You see,
More
that's what I'm
likely you're
saying.
like-
I think most people wanaonanga, yes, Waindis, they have that maringo because they employed people. Yes, it becomes a power thing. I'm not denying it.
Yeah.
Any person who's on top, they feel they've reached there. And, you know,
You can
the
only
lower middle-
marry on top.
Yes.
But what if
or
that
even like
top
culturally.
is an African? What if that
That's what I'm
CEO is a Bukusu CEO?
Yes.
Will it bring the same backlash?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what happened? First, it was cultural thing. They didn't know people. Then it became a power thing, where Indians were mostly employing Africans because of the work. Then it became that one, like religion, culture, food, everything is different.
Yeah.
Boyo, it's only now in the past few years, I can say, we are exploring each other's cultures.
Yes,
when
and
you
you are
guys have a
appreciating
wedding,
your food.
yes,
Yeah.
you guys have a wedding, you want to dress up as Indians in a sari and stuff. Us, people have African nights. Wanataka kitenge nini nini. Unajua?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like someone like me, because I've been working in the fashion industry for so many years.
Okay, let me stop right there because she's explaining a lot of things. You know, it was just there's no explanation there to why Indians don't mingle with black people. It's basically a lot of English to say that, well, we perceive ourselves as superior to you. That's what she's saying. Okay, I'm a top. How can I marry you? For context, Indian people went to Kenya many years ago when British people took over Kenya. British people brought in Indians to build a railroad from Mombasa, you see, in Kenya, all the way to Kampala, Uganda. The goal was to loot Uganda and all the goodness that Uganda has and transfer them to Mombasa so they can put them on the sea and send them away. Now, why did they need to bring Indians to build the railroad? We don't know. Were the black people that stupid that they couldn't build the railroad? Question mark. Okay, question mark. But so since then, white people went back to their countries. Some Indians left and many of them remained. But unfortunately, in both Uganda, where there's Indian community, and Kenya, you will see them stay in their own zones. Okay, they don't really mix with other people. It could be once every blue moon to see a Indian marry a good-looking, the best of the black women. You know, but do you see a black man? Maybe that's another subject. So, what do we do? How do we feel about this? Do you know what I mean? She's asking a question like, "Why don't you marry us?" It's the same thing. Why don't you like me? Why don't you want me? Why don't you accept me? Why don't you tolerate me? How about you build? You know, people build on your land because they need you. Okay, why didn't they do business in India? Well, because this is profitable. Well, you make sure you make it profitable for you. Stop begging. Africans need to love one another. And for me to drop here, it's not just about the Indians and the black. You know, how do Kenyans like a Namibian man who wants to marry a Kenyan woman when she's only wanting a normal Namibian girl? Okay? How would the Kenyan family accept a Namibian man who's working as a professor at university or as a store manager? You know, they're going to ask question. Haven't you seen Kenyan men here? You know, are Kenyan men over? You couldn't find anybody among the Luo and people in Kisumu, and you know what I'm saying? You had to go find somebody in Botswana. But if it's Indian, no, nobody cares. They clap your hand because it feel like upgrading, you know? If it's white, they don't even ask a question. If a black man goes to another African nation saying, I'm looking for opportunities, they want to know where do you come from, what qualification you got, like who sent you. But if it's white, if it's Indian, nobody cares. They clap hand because you feel like you are inferior. As much as you've got this feeling that there's racist toward you, there's an internalized inferiority complex that you do have. And that is a very difficult subject to go into. Thank you very much, fellas. It's always appreciated. You know, here we don't move into the wave of let's bash those people because they're racist. Well, I think as much as they may be racist in some cases, I firmly believe there's a lot of internal work to be done. Please drop a comment. We want you to comment. It's very necessary so this channel can make some positive impact. Did you drop the comment? Have you done it now? Thank you. I appreciate you. Bless.